Rise, my children. Rise and feed upon the living.
So if Neverwinter's coming up on its 11th anniversary, that means that my first game of Neverwinter was about probably 10 and a half years ago. And then I took off about 8 years. Hey everybody, I'm Kel, and now that you're here, let's talk about Neverwinter. It took COVID lockdown to bring me back, and to be honest, I was playing for a while before I was sure this was really the same game I'd logged into back in the day. So much had changed, and yet there were so many things that remained exactly the same. And then this version of Neverwinter came along, Jewel of the North, with a streamlined introduction and leveling campaigns that work like a rocket sled into the endgame. Is it perfect? Oh god, no. Neverwinter shed most of its unique identity and two of the three pillars of 5e Dungeons & Dragons in order to create a faster path to the endgame. But when you take into account that endgame is maybe 4 advanced queues and endless rotation, and the true endgame is fashion, I'm not sure why the focus turned out the way it did. But is it fun? Lord, yes. I don't like to look at the number of hours my PlayStation says I've been playing this game, because it comes out to an average of about 5 hours a day over the last 3.5 years. Of course, a lot of that time, I'm sure, was just toggling the controller while I waited for a random queue, and for a while I thought it was soothing to float in the sea of moving ice and just let Krill freeze to death for a while I played music. But I'd be lying if I said this game didn't take over my life for a while. The new approach of Speed Neverwinter has done one thing for people like me. I went from one character on PlayStation and another on PC to a total of 14 characters. Back when areas like Whispering Caverns were fully fleshed out adventure zones, and not just strings of quests, and when there were places like Helm's Hold offering actual options for your adventures, I had my hands full with just one character on each platform. The game that comes out of this intro, though, you can play it again and again, and see how Neverwinter looks through any number of classes and ability sets and fashion choices. Hold up, though. One thing I do have to say is some of these changes seem weirdly arbitrary. Like, for instance, in the game that I played, 11 years ago, you started out in those boats down there, and you woke up on the beach with Private Wilfred saying, "Thank God you're alive, come with me, we're going to go through this intro." And now, you just wake up here, and when Linkletter finds you, he makes it pretty clear that you were fighting on the ground. Does it make you more adventurous to be in the front lines and get pulled away? I don't know. It just struck me as a odd choice. It does help explain, though, why at the end of the Cloaked Ascendancy you walk over to this barrel and have a flashback of fighting the Dracolich. It's not because of that time you woke up next to Linkletter's camp and looked down off the cliff and thought, that barrel reminds me of the Dracolich. But ultimately, yeah, who cares? So, for a game that is totally focused on getting you to level 20 as fast as possible, and then setting you out into all of the mods and campaigns that have come out since, the intro does a really nice job of holding your hand and throwing you into the deep end at the exact same time. So here you are, and you've got basically 2 encounter powers and some outwills, and you are fighting waves of skeletons and saving these villagers and jumping through fire, and you're working your way through a pretty big quest. You're meeting some big NPCs. I mean, Linkletter used to have a bigger quest, but he's still, one of the relevant minor folks that you run into a couple times here in Neverwinter. And then you're going to find some other people that are going to be with you, some of them all the way up until the most recent mods. So it does a really good job of bringing you the rules. At the same time, it's setting some stakes. It feels like you're doing something significant as you go through here and you're fending off hordes of undead and you're helping Makos trap the soul of the Demi-Lich, and then you're going on to the Sleeping Dragon Bridge and you're facing this campaign's big bad. It's a pretty cool intro as far as intros go. There's no fights with giant rats in the basement of the town inn when you're kicking off Neverwinter. No, Neverwinter is going to throw you right up against Valindra Shadowmantle and then toss Makos to the side. But then, to be fair, they also toss Valindra to the side, and you get to fight this thing called the Harbinger, which is a pretty cool first boss fight. You get to tumble around a little bit, or shield, depending on what kind of class you make, and then this guy's going to beat on you, and you're going to beat on him. It's pretty neat. It really demonstrates the way Neverwinter lets you dodge and parry and duck and all of that. And then eventually you whittle him down, and you finish the intro. I might be showing my age here, but I am kind of a sucker for these pieces of still art and the way it'll pull back and give you kind of a panorama of whatever location you're going into. I really like the way these look, and I really like that in the later mods they've gotten more creative with the camera work and they show you more of what's coming and what's around you. I really like the way that's done. Another thing that's kind of hit or miss is the journal. Sometimes the journal in Neverwinter tells you some stuff that, it's just color, it's background, it's flavor, it tells you more about what's going on. Other times it tells you things that are absolutely vital, and if you didn't read your journal, you're going to be missing out. And other times the journal is just basically a copy-paste of what people have told you. So buyer beware on the journal. Sometimes it's vital, sometimes it's redundant, sometimes it's just a throwback to those old games like Pool of Radiance, where you played with a journal in one hand and flipping 5 1/4-inch discs in the other hand and fighting your way through all the monsters. Neverwinter doesn't really seem to be comfortable with what role the journal plays. And then, of course, the tutorial is going to end with Sergeant Knox. With just a very few exceptions, Sergeant Knox is the beginning and usually the end of just about everything that you do. He's the face of Neverwinter. Pretty cool guy. You get to be his drinking buddy at some point if you play your cards right. You're going to spend a lot of time listening to Sergeant Knox tell you that Neverwinter needs your help. And that's the end of the intro. It's a pretty cool first adventure. It goes a lot farther than the intro to a lot of games that I think probably all of us grew up on. If you liked what you saw here, please like and subscribe. Let us know that you're looking for more. And we'll see you next time when we talk about Neverwinter.